Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. The host with the most and the trends that's coming out with technology, Leon LeGray here. Now, today I'm going to be focusing on a different story, and as I was talking about over a week ago on China's chip self efficiency story. And I wanted to continue on with that story, but that will be for next episode on 247. Now, on 246 of this episode, I wanted to go ahead and talk about something quite different this time in the podcast. Now, I will say with everything that's been happening recently and many things that's been going on with everyone jumping ship on Linux and with I can't say everyone because there's still people using Microsoft, which probably on the office space and so on. But however, a lot is changing this year, and who knows where things are going to go in 2026, and things are taking a quite of a turn, and with Microsoft going downhill, and also we've had now new news on Microsoft's founder, Bill Gates, and this is a breaking news story on what comes out to be a big story on him apologizing on the to Gates Foundation staff over Epstein links. So this is wild for me, and this is another one. I'm not surprised with the story, and this is like brand new news that came out early today, and we are going to end up talking about it in today's video and today's podcast as well. So, guys, if you are listening in and if you like what you hear, please show your support on giving a like, a thumbs up, or subscribe to me on their podcast services of your choice. And let's get on right to this story. Let's hit it. On today's story, the post I am reading is coming from the first post, which here it comes out right there on the headline, which in Bill Gates' words, did nothing illicit, saw nothing illicit. Bill Gates apologizes to Gates Foundation staff over Epstein links. This is a crazy story right here, and I've been following this for a little bit right there, and the fact that even though he hasn't been with Microsoft since the year 2000, first of all, there's no comparison to this whole story. Now, I will say this is a whole story of its own, but when you have the founder of Microsoft have going out with Epstein, like if they were longtime buddies and being all buddy, it seemed you have to seem to question it right there, because there's this big famous photo of Epstein and Gates hanging out with all these billionaires in that one photo, and so that tells you how much of that is very concerning. And now here I am going through the story right now, which here it says Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates has reportedly apologized to the staff of the Gates Foundation over his ties to sex offender Jeffrey Epstein after his name appeared in the recent documents released by the Department of Justice. Gates apologized to the employees to acknowledge the mistakes that has had cast a cloud over a Afroptic group. While he said that he had affairs with two Russian women, Gates maintained that neither of them was one of Epstein's victims. Gates added that Epstein had come to know about his affairs later on, according to a report by the Wall Street Journal. I did nothing illicit. I saw nothing illicit. To be clear, I never spent any time with victims, the women around him, the tech mogul said. Boy. Bill Gates said that photos in the recent release Epstein files depicting him alongside women, those faces were obscured, were taken at Epstein's request, explaining that Epstein had asked him to pose with his assistants following their meetings. It was a huge mistake to spend time with Epstein and bring Gates Foundation executives into meetings with the sex offender. Gates said, I apologize to other people who are drawn into this because of the mistake I had made. And boy, I'm gonna get. I have my fair shares of words about this. This is doesn't look good on Bill Gates as well. So continuing on, when did Gates meet Epstein? So in the article, it continues on. During a town hall meeting, Gates revealed that he had met Epstein in 2011, years after the disgraced billionaire plead guilty in 2008 to soliciting a minor for prostitution. Gates said he knew about an 18-month thing that had restricted Jeffrey Epstein's travel, but acknowledged that he did not thoroughly investigate Epstein's background. Oh my God. He also said he kept a meeting with Epstein even after his then wife Melinda French Gates raised concerns in 2013. Knowingly that I know now makes it, 100 times worse in terms of not only his crimes in the past, but now it's clear there is ongoing bad behavior, Gates told his staff. He also revealed that he and Epstein continued to meet throughout 2014, shared private jets, and had traveled to Germany, France, New York, and Washington with him. He, however, said that he never spent the night with Epstein or visit Epstein's island. He said Epstein talked about the kind of intimate relationship he had with a lot of billionaires, particularly Wall Street billionaires. And in the article on firstpost.com, he there then in the bottom it says, "What has Melinda said?" And then down below it says, in an interview with NPR Wildcard podcast, Bill Gates' former wife said, "It was personally hard whenever those details come up, right? Because it brings back memories of some very, very painful times in my marriage." She added that question raised by the files should be addressed by those involved, including Bill Gates himself. And then she says, whatever questions remain there of what, I can't even begin to know all of it. Those questions are for those people and for even my ex-husband, she said. They need to answer to those things, not me. Wow. This is something right there, it just loses him already. This is where my words starts to fire up on him. My commentary with Gates right there. And so this is where I have to say with this right there, with everything happening. So he goes out and apologizes and brings us up in conversation with his foundation. And look, this is not a good look on Gates, no matter what. And when I first saw Gates in the picture with Epstein, it just felt like, whoa, what the hell is going on? And I felt there was something real shady about this. It's like look, the wife knew something about him, even if you didn't had anything to do inside his private island. It just feel very clear that even though even when he comments, it says, "I did nothing. I did nothing. It's it." And he says, to be clear, I never spent any time with victims, the women around him. And that just tells you how much of that I felt like, okay, what the hell? And then it's like you continue to meet, hang out with him, like if you two were long time buddies, in the private jets and hanging out in other places like that. It's just like you're. I think you have really um screwed up, and it's like I think also you said that you didn't do anything. It's like, first of all, that's so stupid, and then how could you go and say that this is he had nothing to do with Epstein. It's like, first of all, how could you not even look him up? I mean, first of all, he was a big he was this guy was a huge story already, even before this. Like, how could you not know about the guy in advance? And you would have had stopped hanging out with him if he had wanted to. But then it's like you end up doing this anyways. It's like that is bullshit. And I call the whole thing bullshit. I'll be honest though, because that just doesn't mean anything. It that's just what makes me pissed with the whole thing. It's like, come on, get out of here. You knew something about this, even though you didn't had anything with the Epstein Island. You definitely did a lot of things behind of your wife's back, which it just tells you the mogul is the Tech Mogul right here he's screwed, 100% screwed right there too. And it's just something like him, for example, should be accounted right there. And this story is blowing up even as I'm going through the search engines right there. You know, like USA is talking about, Yahoo, Seattle Times, and then other places that are speaking about this story. And this is a huge story already. And that just leads to questions of how much Gates knew about this. And plus the whole thing with you hanging out with about the two Russian women as well, which it comes to no surprise that even after, oh look, I have to give him that. Look, he's kept his marriage for 27 years from what I've heard, longer than any marriage anyone can hold. Like, the longest anyone can hold a marriage was probably between 3 to 7 years of marriage. But him, hey, you gotta give him that. He's had a very long marriage until the divorce on 2023. It says right here, even thinking now, it just says a lot about him. But it's just like, when you are screwing around and how much you are doing stuff behind your wife's back. I mean, and your wife, for some reason, you're doing a lot of this behind closed doors. It just tells you right there is like, yeah, there's something notoriously wrong about you, even as a person. It's still a bad painted picture. And another report coming from the Seattle Times, which here it says that Epstein, a registered sex offender from his 2008 conviction, was arrested of rape and operating a sex trafficking ring involving young girls and women and girls. In interviews with investigators, lawsuits, and public statements, his accusers described being sexually exploited at Epstein's Island in the Caribbean and his ranch in New Mexico. And then in this article of the Seattle Times, which continues on, the release of 3 million pages of Epstein files revealed Epstein's connections with wealthy and powerful people, and have since led to the arrest of the former Prince Andrew in the United Kingdom and a rash of high-profile resignations around the world. Gates met with Epstein 3 times in 2011 and talked about global health and the desire to raise more money. He says during Tuesday's town hall meeting in Seattle, in an hour-long discussion first publicized by the Wall Street Journal. Epstein described one of these meetings in an email to British politician Peter Mandelson, writing that he was having monstrous fun with Gates in Seattle. There were other meetings in 2012, 2013, and 2014 about a potential fund dedicated to global health, for which Epstein said he could raise $100 billion thanks to his relationship with the Wall Street billionaires, according to Gates. They met in Gates' private office in the East Side and in New York. They spent time together in France, and they saw each other briefly in Vancouver, BC. Gates said he never went to Epstein's private Caribbean island or his New Mexico ranch. By 2014, Gates said that at the town hall, it was clear the fund wasn't going to materialize, and he stopped emailing Epstein. He doesn't appear to have responded to at least a dozen messages Epstein sent to him in subsequent years. According to Justice Department records, his words, Bill Gates' words, says, "I made a huge mistake. Our reputation is on the line, and what was the upside? In retrospect, nothing," Gates told employees. And in the article goes on Seattle Times, he also referred to the horrific email that Epstein appeared to have written to himself, in which Epstein wrote that he had been caught up in the marital dispute between Bill Gates and Melinda French Gates, and was helping Bill to get drugs in order to deal with consequences of sex with Russian girls to facilitate his illicit trusts with married women. Gates said that most of that email is not true, aside from the fact that he did have affairs with Russian women. When the email surfaced last month, a Gates spokesperson called the claims completely absurd. And look, I agree with this too. This right there just shows how absurd this is too. And this is why, you hear people on the internet saying that Gates is cooked. I say he's screwed. And first of all, everything is now opened out right there too. Even though the guy has shares with Microsoft, even though he doesn't have like big links with Microsoft anymore. However, it just, before I continue on with the Seattle Times story right there, it just shows already that even though a lot of people still connect Microsoft with Bill Gates, because Bill Gates have been a huge part of Microsoft for most ever since the foundation of the company, and that's why even though he doesn't run Microsoft anymore, but still, I do think that more and more as time goes on, look, Microsoft as a company is not doing a whole lot of well with what's been running with under Satya Nadella and everything that's been happening. This is another serious story that even to take account right there is that he as a billionaire does have an involvement, and the fact that you say that you did nothing is illegit and he didn't do anything. I think, first of all, complete bullshit out of his mouth right there. It's like, seriously. And this is why I think you and the rest of you, the people right there, it makes me wonder, why did you even continue to hang out with Epstein? It makes no sense whatsoever. And you could have had not continued to hang out with him. And it's so absurd. It really is. And I agree with the Gates spokesperson on this part. And so in the end, it says, The only thing these documents demonstrate is Epstein's frustration that he did not have an ongoing relationship with Gates and the lengths he would go to entrap and defame. The statement from Gates' spokesperson in January said Epstein capitalized on his apparent friendship with Gates to make other connections, mentioning that the billionaire would be in attendance when inviting others to lunch, or referencing him as my good friend Bill Gates. In emails, in some cases, Epstein was being truthful, Gates said, and many times he wasn't. So I apologize to other people who were drawn into this because of the mistake that I have made. He says, Gates said he has incredible sympathy for his ex-wife, who was always kind of skeptical about the Epstein thing, and knew of every meeting that took place. After a dinner in 2013, he said she was adamant that the fund was a dead end. French Gates this month said that her ex-husband needed to answer to the allegations made against him and his connection with Epstein, calling the situation heartbreaking. In a 2017 text message with Epstein and a person, those name is redacted, the person wrote that they were meeting with BG at dinner in Washington, D.C. He wants to talk to you about but his wife won't let him. The person wrote, "Oh God, it's crazy." And so in this situation, right there, I can see why Melinda French Gates broke up with him, and the fact that there was just a lot of things happening along the way. And this is why I will say that these billionaires needs to be accountable. And look, and there are a lot of victims on the Epstein files, and there is a lot we don't know. And to me, I just don't take Gates's apology at all. Too, I don't even think that his apology is very sincere at all. Doing this, and plus, even him and Epstein in the picture together, look, it makes you look bad. And first of all, how can you not look at the evidence beforehand too? I mean, there's so much information behind guys like him, and it's like it doesn't oh my goodness, that's why you have guys like Gates like that thinking that, oh, I didn't know about Epstein and blah blah blah. Bullshit. And this is why I'm just saying this is incredible. And even from what I've heard the last couple days ago, even when the Epstein files came up, and his name continues to come up, and he was supposed to go to a AI summit, if I'm not mistaken. The AI summit, which was supposed to be a few days ago, and what happened was that Gates ended up canceling out his trip to India for the AI summit because his name was already out there. So yeah, that's why I feel that it's already a bad picture going and looking at Gates the way it is. It's bad no matter how you see it. It's not a good sight, and this is why Gates should, even I feel that there should be some arrests with him. And still, no matter how you see it, it's just bad overall. And we'll continue on with the article. They strategize on how Epstein and Gates might reconnect, including having French Gates meet with Epstein's friend Kathy Remler, the general counsel at Goldman Sachs. Remler resigned earlier this month after the Justice Department's documents revealed her close relationship with Epstein. She would love to sit with Melinda and give her the other side of Jeffrey Epstein's Epstein wrote. And then in the article continues on, the Gates Foundation said in an email statement that it was a scheduled town hall, which Gates does twice a year with employees. In the conversation, Bill answered questions submitted by the foundation staff on a range of issues, including the release of the Epstein files, the foundation's work in AI, and the future of global health. The foundation said in the town hall, Bill spoke candidly, addressing several questions in detail, and took responsibility for his actions. Like, sure, I don't even know if he's that responsible now, and he could have been much more responsible even back then. Still, like, why even waited this long? Really, why waited this long? Gates is chair of the Seattle headquartered Gates Foundation, which has 2,167 employees and an endowment of $86 billion as of July. Epstein's ties to the Seattle area extends beyond Gates. From 2010 to 2016, the accused sex trafficker visited at least 11 times. Holy moly. He maintained years-long communications with former Microsoft executives. Nathan, sorry for butchering the name, Madov and Stephen Sinofsky, the latter of whom shared confidential information with Epstein as he neglected his exit from Microsoft in 2012. According to emails released by the DOJ, Sinofsky, who was president of Windows from 2009 through 2012, was widely credited with reviving Windows brand by developing Windows 7 after the much maligned Windows Vista operating system. But after the Windows 8 launch flattered, Sinofsky was on his way out amid tensions with then CEO Steve Ballmer. Emails between Sinofsky and Epstein, first reported on the New York Times, showed Sinofsky sharing with Epstein a proposed separation agreement as Sinofsky was leaving Microsoft and consulting the Epstein on the terms. A June 2013 email from Microsoft President Brad Smith with the separation agreement attached was passed to Epstein, who said, "Okay with me. Silly, but okay." After Sinofsky and Microsoft hammered out the agreement and Sinofsky received his $14 million payout, he emailed Epstein in September 2013 with, "Got paid? You will be too." Ooh. Microsoft Chief Communication Officer Frank Shaw said Wednesday that the company was disappointed to read emails sent between Jeffrey Epstein and former employees acting in their personal capacities, including how one executive shared Microsoft confidential information with him as he sought to negotiate a separation agreement with the company. Yikes. I feel also this is why I feel that there's a lot of nastiness even from other executives, and this is why I feel this is just downright gross. Still downright gross with everything happening. And look, I think it's a good way. I have to say that I'm so glad I'm even out of the whole Windows world. And look, at Microsoft, it's just another it has another nasty mess with their own situation, and then it's like the Gates thing. It's already nasty as it is. Still, no matter how you look at it, it tends to be it's just another nasty story, more and more as we see this happening too. So, anyways, guys, I think I've already rambled for too long right there. Still, any way you see it, I still think that these people still need these accountability. I mean, actually, especially with Gates right there. Look, this is one thing right there, but man, it's it's really bad on him too. And also, I haven't listened to the NPR podcast, which I know I'm going to be listening to before heading off to bed. By the time this podcast is released in the morning, I'll be working on the next podcast, either from Friday, having it released between Friday and Saturday. Which right there's just a lot going on because I know there's a lot of information in the depths of the Epstein files. It's like you can rummage through a lot of PDF files, but who has the time to go and rummage through thousands of files about this too? And right there, we're not even in the cleanest of that too, because I know that the tech world right now, the tech world is just in a very, very bad situation, and I mean, still, I can't even imagine about this because there's just so much that you can say about this too. Still, it is really bad. And the last thing I will say about Gates is that, for one, the more I read on and discover more on Gates, it's not just the whole Epstein and Gates thing, but there's always been nasty issues with under Microsoft, even under Gates, which for me there's a lot of theories going on that I can go in a very deep rabbit hole. But God, you could say so much about Gates. But what I have to say, what I disliked most about Gates is the whole thing when he talked about the vaccines and the way he ended up saying about population control and how we should reduce the number of people, which I think it's wild he would say stuff like that publicly. And it's incredible how much of a madman he is too. And first of all, that's why I don't ever trust. You can never trust a tech mogul or someone that holds a foundation. And God knows, I mean, this guy. I mean, first of all, Gates is just pure evil. And even though, look, his software company and his situation is so separate upon this situation, but still, it does leave a bad taste in anyone's mouth. And as someone that is a computer guy, I'm glad I have I'm not even connected with Windows operating system or any of the Windows architecture at that point. Still, it makes you wonder still how much of that we're going to see throughout the next several days with this story. I think this story is going to continue on more and more, but we'll see where this goes, guys. This is something that Bill Gates can't really control, or the damage control that's already up and about. So anyways, guys, I'm gonna go and put this podcast in a close. Let me know your thoughts down below right there, because we all know he's screwed, and there's a lot of that I really don't care for this man whatsoever. So anyways, I'm out of here. Have a good rest of the day. Sorry to bring this podcast is in a negative light, but still, I'm glad we are seeing more of this coming to light because of the whole situation. And it is about time. It is definitely about time, because anyone associated with him should not be associated whatsoever too. So if anyone wants to read the articles that I've read today, the articles are in the show notes below. Have a good one. Bye for now.